so much pain. See, here's your problem. You're not perceiving what the Lord's trying to do through it all. If you can just hold on to the faith and say, Lord, I see it, I perceive it, that you're bringing this into my life so you can work out a miracle. Anybody out there begin to see the perception of things? We don't perceive things the right way. Like that cat there, their vision. A cat sees a ball rolling onto the floor. You see that same ball rolling around the floor and you say, well, it's just a ball. But the cat perceives a new adventure. Right? And he'll take his eyes on that thing, and you know it, what he'll do, he'll just watch it and seeing the same thing, but seeing a different way. There's a person in here today, two people facing almost identically the same thing. One could hardly get out of bed this morning, some didn't yesterday. The other person got up and said, Lord, it's hard, but I'm going to put a smile on my face. Because I know you haven't brought me this far to leave me now. And Lord, I don't see everything that you're doing. I don't know everything that you're doing in my life. But God, I perceive it. I know that you're setting me up for something. You see, we see things. It's not the vision that we need. It's God, we need to help me. How about when we begin? You know, one of the biggest attacks the enemy does is with our perception. I've seen the enemy literally mess with somebody's mind and they got crazy thinking, perceiving that somebody was absolutely against them. Their perception was messed up. Their whole reality. And so if we're going to win in life, we've got to ask the Lord to help us, not so much with vision, but to give us the right perception of our vision. And if our vision is not correct, then God will give us corrective lenses, so to speak. So we can see properly in what the Lord is doing, because I don't want God to move and you to miss it and look back 100 years from now, if you're still alive. Or for more importantly, your grandchildren or great-grandchildren to look back 100 years from now and write a list about all the things you didn't do. Because you spent all your time waiting for the right moment to come. And not perceive the moment that's before you. And that's what I've been praying, God. Help us to keep the focus. Now here's what the scripture, let's bring the word into it. In Philippians 3 verse 14 it says this, that with my eyes fixed, say that word fixed, with my eyes fixed on the goal. 1, 2, 3, one more time, get it, fixed on the goal. I looked at that word fixed and it literally meant to fasten or to attach. That you set your eyes on something. That whatever God has spoken into your life that He's going to do, that you set your eyes on it and you begin to walk towards it. But here's what happens today. God, we get a goal, we get an aim, we get a purpose, and we start to walk to it, and we do it until the moment something goes wrong and we set our eyes over. So fix your eyes. Get so focused on it that you say, Lord, by the way, it literally means this too. The word fixed, it means fastens or attached, but it also means not to vary or not to variate from the perceived mission. It says, so you set your eyes on something and you begin to walk forward. Let me share this illustrative story about my life and about my vision and about the purpose God had for me. From the time I was younger, in ministry, God spoke to me a very clear word. I seen it, I dreamt about it, and I said, Lord, I want to have my vision. It's not me, it's what God's given me. Lord, I believe that you've given me in my ministry a multicultural twist. Lord, I just don't want to be a person that's satisfied. All the other, my evangelist college at the time, they were excited about preaching in the big churches. I was preaching in the big churches, but God, I said, Lord, I just don't want to go into the big churches and preach to the same people. Lord, I believe that this land is more than just a Caucasian white land. God, I believe that this world is so much bigger. And Lord, I said, I know it's improbable. And I said, but Lord, I want to preach to the nations right here. And you know what I did? I set my mind to it. And when I began to set my mind to it, I did something else. I began to infiltrate my mind to everything that I know. Some people get a vision, but they don't study about it. You think God's going to give you something if you don't know what you're going into? Somebody says, I'm just so sold out. I know I'm going to be this and going to be that. Well, are you really sold out that you just look and say, I know God will bring it all to us? God will bring it to you when you work hard for it.
Amen.
So I went out. I set on the go. I studied different cultures and ethnicities. I prayed, and I was evangelizing at the time. And I wrote to the multicultural director of the Church of God at the time, who was now on the executive committee, Wallace Sibley. And I wrote to him and I said, Lord, this is my vision. And people told me all the time, they told me, well, Pastor, you know that the places you're wanting to preach, that most of these places, they won't even have a white preacher. And God said, we're going to tear down strongholds.
Come on.
And I set my eyes to it, and I believed that, and nothing would stop me. And I would go Sunday after Sunday, sometimes preaching. I just say it like well, sometimes preaching in country bunkum churches. And I would go out of there. Nothing wrong with that. That was,